Going back to our top story, 5 mine workers have passed on at Palabora Copper Mine in Palabora, Limpopo. The deceased were trapped underground after a conveyor belt caught fire. One of their colleagues is still missing. A rescue bid to bring the miner to the surface is expected to resume this morning. Now, the incident puts this year's mining death toll to at least 50. It comes amid calls for amendment of the Mining Safety Act in order to curtail mining fatalities. Well, joining us on the phone line, we have External Affairs and Communications Manager Lydia Radebe. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Afro World View. If you could provide us with any further information with regards to the current rescue operation at the mine and the possible recovery of that final mine worker. I do apologize. We seem to have lost Lydia. We will try and get her back on the phone line to continue that conversation. But also joining us on the phone line now, we have the NUM Health and Safety Chairperson, Duncan Lovunyo. Good morning to you, Chairperson. Thank you for joining us here on Afro World View. Just talk us through, first and foremost, NUM's reaction to yet another mining fatality this year.
Morning, and thanks for having us. I think maybe let me take this opportunity to firstly extend condolences to the families of these 6 deceased mine workers and colleagues, as well as friends. I think as NUM, it's unfortunate that we feel vindicated in the same midst that we've been calling that we need to make the death or the fatal incident expensive to the mine employers or to the mine bosses. Because what is happening is that even if there is a fatality, you'll never find a situation whereby there is a recourse in the Mine Health and Safety Act whereby it can make it expensive in terms of penalties. Hence, we are calling for the Mine Health and Safety Act to be reviewed so that we can make it expensive for if there's a fatal incident. Secondly, we want people who have been negligent, these mine bosses that are found to be negligent, to be prosecuted if that such cases happened. That's our call as NUM.
NUM is also calling, correct me if I'm wrong, for a probe into this incident. What are you hoping to uncover here, and what are you hoping the outcome to be, besides obviously an increase in the cost to company when deaths do happen?
Actually, what we are calling for as NUM, we are calling for a formal inquiry, a formal commission of inquiry. Hence, we are planning to talk to the president of the country and DMR as well to assist us to come together. We need a commission of inquiry whereby we can be able to deep dive and check what is it that can be done to make things different. But we know for a fact that it's not assisting only to issue this notice of instruction in terms of Section 54 of the Mine Health and Safety Act. It's not assisting because it is not expensive. If they are issuing this notice of Mine Health and Safety Act, the mine bosses are given an opportunity to fix. And what happened in the same midst, they only halt part of the production or for a period. After that, they fix it. After fixing it, it's business as usual. We're having 50 thus far. We're having 50 thus far of fatalities in the mining sector. Now we're even half year of the financial year. So it tells you what will happen in the last day of the financial year. It means we're still going to be experiencing the very same problems that we're experiencing. So I was saying that it is not expensive. You only issue Section 54 to these mine bosses. They halt production for a few days, then they continue producing. They put profits. They put profits before the safety of our workers. Like in this particular instance, this conveyor belt that has catched fire, it is not a new thing that has happened. It is not a new thing because if you remember very well, in 2016, January, at Impala, we had 4 fatalities on the very same issue of the conveyor belt. Again, in 2004 in Northern Rustenburg, we had fatalities in the same way. It means that it is a system failure, but I think it will be ill-advised to conclusively say that. But it should be contributed to a system failure because we're having fire suppressants. Fire suppressants should automatically kick in if there is such a fire. But however, we are going to wait for the investigation, the in-local inspection that will take place now. It will include the DMR, the employer, and us as well, stakeholders, trade unions. We'll wait for that, then we'll comment further after that. One should really advise of me to conclusively say the system has failed. From where I'm standing, it is a system failure. And as long as we don't hold these mine bosses accountable or are not prosecuting them, it should continue like this. However, it's unfortunate that we cannot continue like this as union to say we are angered, we are angry. We need to do things differently now. We need to come up with new ways of forcing these mine bosses to listen to us.
Chairperson, why then has mining companies not been held accountable as yet? We've seen numerous mining fatalities take place in the last couple of months alone. Where are we missing the boat? Where are we missing an opportunity here to hold these companies accountable?
There are a number of reasons, but however, if one can say among others, is that in Section 23 in terms of Mine Health and Safety Act, Section 23 stipulates very clearly that a worker or an employee has a right to refuse unsafe work. But because now we are having these bosses or these team leaders that are forcing people to work in unsafe conditions, they are afraid to be charged. It's another contributing factor. So workers are not able to exercise their Section 23 right to refuse unsafe work. That's the first thing. Secondly, we are having this arrogance from employers. The arrogance by employers is that they don't want to listen to us as anyone because they know that even if there can be an incident, they'll only be issued with notice of Section 54 in terms of Mine Health and Safety Act. And that is not expensive. It is not expensive. Up to now, for these 50 fatalities, there is no one that is going to jail. There is no one that has been prosecuted for negligence. And we know in some of these cases there are negligence. So hence we are saying that is why until such time we review and change the Mine Health and Safety Act to put a record in terms when a situation like this happens of fatalities, it must be expensive to them. It is not expensive for them. So it's business as usual. They are killing, they are robbing families of their breadwinners. And it seems like because the black life is acceptable, we must be happy with it. Maybe they're coming to listen to us. But however, we're planning to engage the president of the country and the DMR because they're equally responsible. And ourselves, we need to, with the speed of lightning, to start now and push on this particular issue.
My next question, Chairperson, was going to be what NUM is prepared to do to assist mine workers in better understanding their rights and educating themselves, and also to change these acts. You did mention briefly there that there is a plan to engage the President. Talk us through that plan of action and what you hope to achieve.
You know, there is a breakdown in the system itself. If you can check, as I've spoken to Section 23 of the Mine Health and Safety Act, employees, they do know their rights, but however they have been threatened, they will be charged. Until there's a willingness from management to also follow the Mine Health and Safety Act, it will assist us because you won't be charged. If you are saying it's not safe, I cannot go there. We need to follow the Mine Health and Safety Act. However, we'll continue as well to say maybe even our safety rep, they must not only do HIRA and ICAM. They must even go further and do COMSOC or even SAMTRAC as well, so that it can expand their knowledge in terms of the safety at workplace. That's what we are pushing for.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this morning and for sharing these details with us. We appreciate your time. That was the NUM Health and Safety Chairperson, Duncan Luvuno, just talking to us about this incident that took place where 5 mine workers have passed on at the Phalaborwa copper mine in Phalaborwa, Limpopo. The deceased were trapped underground after a conveyor belt caught fire. One of their colleagues is still missing, and a rescue bid to bring the miner to the surface is expected to resume this morning. Stay tuned to AfriWorld View for those developments and details.